Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming. We feel so honored to have you here. Planning this event was pretty much last minute, and standing here right now and seeing this hall, I am indeed so honored. On behalf of the Network of Nigerians in Canada, I want to thank you all so much for being here. I know that you have other places to be, but you chose to spend this evening with us, and for that, we say thank you. For that, we're truly honored. Put your hands together for yourselves, please. Thank you so much. It's a good thing, Minister Charmaine Williams, that when you spoke, you mentioned things like the table, technology. Most of what I'll be talking about is centered around being on the table and taking advantage of technology. And I've actually prepared a script, so I'll just keep to time. I'll go straight to my speech this evening so we can continue with the program. And the whole idea is for us, first as Nigerians, to realize that there's a whole lot more to do. There's a whole lot more ahead of us, but we cannot get there without working together. That's the key behind what I'll be saying this evening. Dear friends, it is an honor to stand before you to welcome you to today's third edition of NaijaFest, celebrating culture, creativity, and connections. When the planning committee was brainstorming about the theme for this year, we considered what is truly worth celebrating about Nigerians. We considered what has transpired over the last couple of years, especially post-COVID, and realized that we are truly a consistently resilient people. We have refused to compromise our culture, adapted to the Canadian terrain through our creativity, and integrated successfully by our connections. This has made us stand out, not only in Canada, but all over the world where we find Nigerians. But unfortunately, this has mostly been individualistic. Since the beginning of this year, I have met and connected with remarkable Nigerians doing great things in Canada and advancing the Canada-Africa relationship. I have also been part of certain alliances that got my mind in different places, sometimes leaving me wondering about the leadership status of Nigerians in Canada. As an economic development practitioner with a focus on foreign direct investment from Africa and the Caribbean into Brampton, I have also had the opportunity to reflect on the economic practices of different communities. In comparison with ours, one thing holds true, as eloquently stated by Pastor T.D. Jakes. If you are not in the room where changes are occurring, you are stuck in the yard where consequences are received. A couple of years ago, I spoke to the Nigerian community in New Brunswick about technology for governance in the community, private and public sectors. It still holds true today, as it was then, that technology is a disruptive tool for leadership, good governance and change, and how Nigerians in diaspora can be part of the move to utilize technology for our goods. This is still work in progress. It is important to note that in this 21st century, despite advancement in all frontiers and sectors, technology mostly refers to communications, as social media have disrupted the print and broadcast media space. It has become an indispensable tool, but like any tool, it depends on the user and their intentions. I would like to start by asking this question. Why is there so much expectation from technology with respect to being a potential change agent? Well, these statistics might begin to tell us why. Facebook currently has over 3 billion monthly active users. Almost 67% of the active internet users across Facebook access Facebook every month. X, former Twitter, currently has almost 530 million monthly active users. Instagram has over 2.3 billion monthly active users. WhatsApp has 2.7 billion monthly active users, up from 1 billion just about in 2016. One fact remains incontrovertible. There's power in numbers, and whatever the terms are, whether it be assets, money, or people. And we are beginning to be more aware about this as a community. Let me just mention this and I'll move on as well. In the Roman Empire, technology was all about construction and military weaponry. Along with concrete, the Romans used stone, wood, and marble as building materials. They used these materials to construct civil engineering projects for their cities and transportation devices for land and sea travel. The Romans also contributed to the development of technologies of the battlefield. Warfare was an essential aspect of Roman society and culture, as the military was used for territorial acquisition and defense. This military prowess continued to grow amongst the nations of the world, and it was displayed during World War II, the Gulf War, and as is ongoing right now in Eastern Europe. As we know today, we have drones replacing some of the regular military activities carried out by humans. Fast forward down to very recently, we have the Arab Spring that happened because of social media. We also remember the Me Too hashtag that happened in America that pretty much affected the Hollywood industry. And then if you go back home in Nigeria, the End SARS Now hashtag as well. Just like the Arab Spring, this also started from one video of police brutality going viral. Demonstrators calling for police reform used social media to organize protests, raise money, and share alleged proof of police harassment. It was dubbed the most coordinated protest in recent times. Even the then Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, tweeted about this. With no organization or known leader behind it, the protest lasted for about 10 days before the infamous Lekki tollgate crackdown. Everyone responded to tweets from multiple anonymous sources with precision and coordination. As we recall, there was a base at the toll gate and everything was provided. Front tent, water, food, transportation, recharge cards, and even music was provided as well. There was also pocket protest of Nigerians in diaspora, as well as engagement with various government officials. Here in Canada, protests were held, as well as meetings with government officials. There were resolutions passed in some councils, as well as in Parliament. The power behind the positive use of technology led to a reaction by key political leaders around the world. For the first time in a long time, there was coordinated pressure from all frontiers on the Nigerian government. In July this year, and this is very recently, the world's attention was brought to the refugee crisis in Toronto, where refugees from Africa were sleeping outside due to non-provision of shelter. The full blast on the media, both broadcast and social, led to some temporary actions to be taken, bringing some level of succor to some refugees. This is still a crisis. It will be talked about a little later. The advancement of leadership through technology is not unachievable for the Nigerian community in Canada. We have displayed this power in our immigrant fund repatriation. So just so you know, in 2021, Nigerians living abroad sent an estimated $21 billion back home to Nigeria. Closer home to Canada, again in 2021, Nigeria was Canada's most important source of international students from Africa, welcoming almost 14,000 Nigerian students that year. We have Agoma University represented here. I'm pretty sure they can attest to this. Now, this year, between January 1 and June 30th, 10,000 Nigerians have arrived Canada as permanent residents, the highest number ever recorded in the history of immigration from Nigeria. As a vibrant diaspora community in Canada, we must stand up to becoming more strategic so that we can be in the room where changes are occurring. This is a new area of focus for NNC, going beyond just a community group and becoming a true catalyst for human capacity and leadership development. In closing, our use of social media should be strategic so that we know whether we are informing or deforming people. Collectivism continues to make some communities prosper, growing their businesses and dominating spaces. But individualism will be the peril of the Nigerian community if we do not consciously begin to reverse that trend. As we mentioned in one of the scenes in the series, I'm sure we watched this series, The Designated Survivor. It says, loyalty is a consequence of leadership, and leadership is a touchdown of competence. When I look at this room, I see leaders, and this should apply to every one of us in our endeavors. let's be consistently competent, and the sky will not even be a limit for us. Once again, thank you very much, and you are most welcome joining us this evening.
Well put together. One more time, a round of applause for Uche Okugo, the president of NNC, Network of Nigerians in Canada. On that note,